Hello and welcome back to another session. Why use database in data warehouse? So in this topic, you're going to learn why we have to use database and data warehouse. So why use database? Here are some of the prime reasons for using the database system. So it first one is the security. Basically, it offers the security of the data and its access. So what do you mean by this? Databases are often provided with multiple layers of security mechanisms so that the failure of a single mechanism does not result in compromising of critical information. This is done by enabling the consolidation and layering database enforced security that cannot be bypassed. What is second reason? A database offers a variety of techniques to store and retrieve the data. There are many different types of database systems and many different storage schemes. Many relational schemes, the systems, store rows in the pages and then provides various indexes within the page. There are a lot of different schemas for the linking pages to the table to which they belong. So separate structures based on the B trees or similar algorithms may be used to index frequently accessed columns, especially the primary and the foreign keys. Hashing may also be used for this particular purpose. Page data may be compressed to reduce the storage needs, but also to reduce the number of pages we have to be fetched, to resolve a query. So I don't want to get into this complete details of how data is stored, as it's a huge topic to discuss. This is just to give an idea on how data is stored and retrieved from the database. What is the third reason for using the database? So database acts as the efficient handler to balance the requirement of multiple applications using the same data. It is basically like one source for multiple applications. A database management system, which is also called as DBMS, is a system software for creating and managing the databases. The DBMS provides users and the programmers with a systematic way to create, retrieve, and update and manage the data basically. DBMS makes it possible for end users to create, read, and update and delete the data in database. So the database management system essentially serves as an interface between the database and the end user or application programs, ensuring that data is consistently organized and remains easily accessible. What is the fourth reason for using the database? It prevents the access to the prohibited data. A database management system offers integrity constraints to get a high level protection of the protection to prevent access to a prohibited data, means forbidden data. So database management system must provide the ability to define and enforce certain constraints to ensure that users enter valid information and maintain the data integrity. A database constraint is a restriction or a rule that dictates what can be entered or edited in a table, such as a postal code using in a certain format or adding a valid city in the city field. There are many types of database constraint. That is like a data type, for example, which determines some sort of the data permitted in a field. For example, some of the field you would allow only the numbers. You cannot. That should be the numerics only. You cannot put alphanumerics. So data sequences such as the primary key ensures that no duplicates are entered in that particular column. And the constraints can be simple also. That is something like very specific to the field, or a complex, like sometimes you need to write a programming within the database to make sure there are interdependency things are managed while handling the data. All right, the better control on accessing the data. A database allows you to access the concurrent data in such a way that only a single user can access the same data at a time. In a single user database, the user can modify the data in a database without concern for other users modifying the same data at the same time. However, in a multi-user database, the statements within the multiple simultaneous transactions can update the same data. Transactions executing at the same time need to produce meaningful and consistent results. Therefore, control of the data concurrency and the data consistency is vital in multi-user database. What is data concurrency? So data concurrency is nothing but many users can access their data at the same time. Data consistency. What is data consistency? It means that each user sees a consistent view of the data, including the visible changes made by the user's own transactions and the transaction of other users. Say for example, I'm currently using the database and I make the changes to the data, and at the same time there is another person who's making the changes on that particular data. So when I'm making changes to that data, so the other person will be able to change the view that changes on a instantaneous basis. So when other users changes, and I should be able to view those changes. This is called data consistency, which can be handled by the database. So to describe the consistent transaction behavior when the transactions run at the same time, the database researchers have defined a transaction isolation model, which is called as serializability. The serializable mode of transaction behavior tries to ensure that the transactions run in such a way that they appear to be executed one at a time, or serially rather than concurrently. While this degree of isolation between transactions is generally desirable, running many applications in this mode can seriously compromise the application throughput. Complete isolation of concurrently running transactions could mean that one transaction cannot perform an insert into a table being queried by another transaction. In short, real-world considerations usually require a compromise between perfect transaction isolation and the performance. Now that we have learned about why we have to use database, let's learn about why we have to use data warehouse. As you can see in the slide, here are some of the important reasons for using the data warehouse. So data warehouse basically, it's like a one-stop shop for all the data needs. So it basically helps the business users to access critical data from some sources and all in one place. What do you mean by this? Say, for example, you have a data from marketing, sales, finance, HR, and you want to compare expenditures towards the wages from each department. You have all the data in one place. So data warehouse basically helps you bring data from multiple sources and present in single report format. What is second reason for using the data warehouse? Consistent information. What do you mean by that? It basically provides the consistent information on various cross-functional activities. So like I explained above in my previous the region, you have predefined the data being stored in the tables from the multiple sources. Since data is structured as per the business need, data retrieved is always consistent. For example, top 10 salary earners from sales, marketing, HR, finance can be easily retrieved from one source because you have the data from all these departments at one place, so that it's very easy to access the data from one place. Third thing is better data stress management. So what do you mean by this? It basically helps you to integrate many sources of data to reduce the stress on the production system. Think about this. You have a data in multiple databases. When I say multiple databases, which are often like OLTP, which is online transactional processing, or even the individual database on a separate server. If you try to access the data from these individual databases, it creates a heavy load on the databases and data retrieval becomes an issue as it affects the performance of the application. So, data warehouse will act as a solution where the data from multiple systems are brought into one place. What is the fourth reason? Reduce turnaround time of analysis and the reporting. So, data warehouse basically helps you to reduce TAT, that's total turnaround time for analysis and reporting. Like I already explained in my previous point, data retrieval is fast and accurate, which helps end users to view the data from multiple systems in one place. in the form of reports and dashboards helps end users in their quick analysis and draw new insights from it. So I'm an end user and I want to view the data from all the departments, but I cannot really query the database and extract the data, put it in an Excel, do the comparison. Rather, we have a tools where it query the database and it gets the data and it shows the data in the form of the reports and dashboards. That's how the users can make use of the heterogeneous data which is available at the data warehouse. So easy and quick access to variety of data. So data warehouse helps users to access critical data from different sources in a single place. So it basically saves the user's time of retrieving the data from data information from multiple sources. So you can also access data from the cloud easily. So nowadays, it's a new technology where cloud computing. So you can put all this data into cloud and anybody can access the data anywhere across the world. End users don't have to run around to access data from multiple systems. That's all it means. So it basically reduces the time for end user as all data required is available in one place. What is the next reason? Helps storing the large amount of historic data. So it basically allows you to store a large amount of historical data to analyze different periods and trends to make the future predictions. So a large amount of data is stored in data warehouse and at the same time the performance is not affected. So data warehouse has the capability to store the large amount of data, which is often historic data, used for the analysis and further taking the tactical and strategic decisions. So better CRM and OBA. So it basically enhances the value of operational business applications and the customer relationship management system. OBA is nothing but operational business applications and CRM is customer relationship management systems. What do you mean by this? Data warehouse acts as a bedrock for the operational business applications and the customer relationship management application to take data-driven decisions which will help the business owners accomplish more with less or streamline administrative functions. To give quick examples, some of the operational business applications are like electronic document management system, payroll, customer relationship management, expense reporting, etc. What is the eighth reason for using the data warehouse? Dedicated system for analysis and the reporting. So like we already discussed, right? Historic data is separated from the transactional data and in turn reduces the load on the database system, which is also called as OLTP. And at the same time, it reduces the load on the data warehouse as well. What is the ninth reason? Data integration brings new insights from the data. So stakeholders and users may not be overestimating the quality of the data in the source systems. Data warehouse provides more accurate reports by the way of holistic view on the data. So if you have a data in multiple systems and if you try to access and analyze the data having multiple systems, you may wrongly interpret the data. Since data warehouse provides data in integrated form, the analysis and the decision you take based on that will be more accurate because your business decisions are data driven. Nowadays, the data is playing as a currency in business or any market. I hope you enjoyed this session. This is a little bit of a lengthy session compared to the previous sessions, but still, it's a very the important information on why we have to use the database and why we have to use the data warehouse. Because so if you're starting your own business and which is data centric business, and if you're doing any other business where you're going to collect a lot of amount of data, then that so then you should have an idea about when I have to choose database and when I have to choose data warehouse, for what purposes. That's why it is very important topic. I hope you enjoyed this session. I'll see you in the next topic. Thank you.